Uh, Good afternoon. Welcome to the 1873 TV. Today I'm joined by Mr. Duwe Dumisani, all the way from Bulawayo. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Good afternoon, viewers of 1873 TV.
Today we are talking about succession and the confusion that it has caused in Zimbabwe, not just now, but for a number of years. People have been talking about it, and increasingly now, not only because of the age of the incumbent, but the expectation that Zimbabwe needs to have a facelift by people who are particularly active in the social media. And what is your take on this idea of succession? Is it an imagined one, a real one? Is there a succession issue in Zimbabwe?
From what is in widely reported in both in print media and which is controlled by government and also private media, is that succession is becoming an issue because of late, in the first lady addressing a meeting where she asked the president to name a successor. Also, gave the president that it's unconstitutional for him to appoint successor. Says he's a trained lawyer and in the principle of constitutionalism. There's no way in the party constitution when the constitution of the country where you've got the power of the mandate.
Okay, so it is your case that what the First Lady said is gospel.
Yes.
In what capacity was she saying what she's alleged to have said? And what exactly did she say?
She was speaking in her capacity, not as the First Lady, but as the Secretary for the Women's League.
Okay.
In the meeting which was attended by cabinet ministers, both by president and the youth.
So we can start there. Is that a safer way? I mean, since we have Google, just to get what she said.
Yes.
Yeah. What did she say?
So I'm traveling. I can't put it.
Oh no! I'm saying is I'm now doing it for you, just to be able. Yeah. I think the story was it was on the 27th of. It was on the 27th of July.
Yes.
Yeah. And what did she say? Let's go to what actually she said. President Mugabe to name the First Lady ages Mugabe to name a successor, and name your successor. Wife ages Zimbabwe's aging president. That was on Reuters. So we can choose any of the. Let's choose the Herald and see what they were saying in the Herald, because they can't be. So I'll post the link for people who are watching, but I will read it so that we all are in the same grouping. What did she say? Okay, it's the Herald. Okay, this is what was said. First Lady Dr. Amai Gracie has urged President Mugabe to name a successor, saying he had the final say on who will take over from him when the time comes. Speaking during the Women's League National Assembly meeting at the ZANU-PF National Headquarters in Harare yesterday, which was the 26th of July, Dr. Mugabe urged party members to shun factionalism while avoiding clandestine succession meetings. She says the president had a role and right to choose his successor as a Zimbabwean citizen. Hakuna succession inoitwa without the involvement of Mugabe. Hakuna. Vane say as a citizen of this country. I know President says no, 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 no. I don't want to impose any candidate, but I have always argued with him that you have the role. You have the right to be part of that process. Kuti ndiani achatora chigaro kana mabva imi president, because we respect him. Saka his word will be final. Mark my words. His word will be final, she said. She cited the example of the late South African President Nelson Mandela, who chose President Thabo Mbeki to take over when he retired. Kune dzimwe nyika tiri kunzwa kuti mamwe mapresident vanenge vachiti ndosiya nhingi. Imimi president musatye, tiudzei vamunoda kuti bhiza iri ngatifambe naro. Fanike nini president mukandiudza kuti iri bhiza iri unoonerera, nokuti ZANU-PF tinoda zvinhu zviri pachena. President mukangotiudza kuti nyeu ndo bhiza racho iri, aha, tasimuka naro bhiza pachena, munhu wese achiona. She said once the successor had been chosen, there was no need for clandestine discussion of the succession issue. Tinovigirei bhiza redu. Tinorivigirei. Rinovigwa richitaurwa nezvaro manheru. Harisi bhiza rechokwadi. Bhiza rechokwadi rinoratidzwa pachena, kwakachena, she said. She urged members of the Women's League to heed her call and shun factionalism. She said President Mugabe was quiet but wise man who knows what he would be doing. Kana nguva yakwana president vachatitaurira, isu tongoita zvatinenge taudzwa nomukuru wedu. She said, hatibvume zvefactionalism, hatibvume zvekuti vamwe vari kuti president vachembera. Ivo kana vachembera vasisagoni vachatitiudza. The National Secretary for Women's Affairs denounced the culture of disrespect within the party, especially on President Mugabe. Hatidi vana vanoenda panze vachitukirira mukuru, hazvina kunaka. Hazvisi part of our culture. Hatizive kuti zviri kubva kupi, she said. Dr. Mugabe said she was aware of a party member based in South Africa doling out money and denigrating President Mugabe. Ari kuuya kutora vanhu kuno achivapa mari achiti power yashifta, chisiyanai na Mugabe, ini ndichinzi that woman. Hazvina basa, but I know Zimbabweans will not address me as that woman. Zviri kuitika, ari kuuya achipa vanhu mari kuti inini mari yangu follows power. Power ichina vaMugabe ndo zvatinoziva isu. Kana kune rimwe power raari kufunga kuti power, wherever that person is, ngazive kuti fake power. Tiri pano isu say Women's League tichiita follow actual power rinava Mugabe ratakavapa isu real power, authentic power, power rinotaurwa muzvikona nemanheru risingazivikanwi nevamwe, harisi power which is recognizable. Dr. Mugabe accused the party member of anointing his own first lady, but it doesn't make any sense at all. That's stupidity, that's ignorance, because the first lady is here. Munoziva kune vamwe vanhu vanozvinetsa zvavo. Let me tell you, if you make a slogan uchinti omita hazvina zvazvinoreva, because I'm still your president's wife. Inini ndiri munhu asinganyanye kunetsekana zvangu nezvakawanda. Kuti ukaita slogan ukati pamberi nanhingi ukandisiya hazvina basa. I am still the first lady. It will never change the status quo. Musazvinetsa asikana, ndiripo pano samai Mugabe, period. Aiwaka. That's the truth. Handisi kukumbirai, handisi kutsvaga, but is the reality kuti ndini mai Mugabe. Those are zviri. She said when President Mugabe quit, she will remain the former first lady of Zimbabwe. She called for mutual respect within the party. Zvino vamwe vanobva vada kutaridza kuti ndinosimuka ndoita slogan ndosiya Grace Mugabe. Chino chimbuya hachizive ichi. Hachina mhosva. Chandinongoda ndechekuti ngatiitei basa. Kana ndisingade basa ndo ndishore kuti chimbuya chino munoziva kuti chinodhonza ndima. Zvakanakawo. She expressed pity to the people who lack respect. I have been watching kuno kuchitwa maslogan kuchisiwa mai Mugabe. Oh my God, sorry. I feel sorry for you. Inini vasikana iwewe uri kuitirei slogan uchindisiya. Ndakakumirira kuti iwe pauri ipapo. Ndakakumirira kuti iwe pauri ipapo. Uri kuzviziva kuti waita slogan ukandisiya ndiwe ani. Hazvina kunaka kuti udaro. Ndinoudza munhu chokwadi. Ukauya usina kupfeka uniform ndinokuudza kuti wawirei wakadaro. Ukauya usina kuita zvakanaka ndinobva ndakuudza ipapo. Asi ukandivenga kuti ndakuudzirei chokwadi mangwana kana zvinhu zvakuomera uchanditsvaga. You may think that nhasi ndapa chigaro uchindinyepera kundisapota. Wachiwana chigaro saka hauchandi nida mai Mugabe. Inini I can say I still need you. Iwewe kana usingandidewo uchandi nida chete. Mark my words. I bet uchandi nida chete mangwana. Ndiri kukutaurira izvi semadzimai ngatipanane respect, she said. So that was the address. And what do you make of the address?
I think that the address shows the fact that succession is now within ZANU-PF and also within country.
Okay.
So the first lady is the wife to the president. She shares a very close relationship with the president. I'm sure it's an issue could have. It shows that this issue is also been discussed within the world of the state house.
Okay.
So using the platform to aid and also put pressure on the president to name a successor, because she was saying that the president was also sitting by himself.
Okay, so when you look at it from a broader perspective, she's giving a warning to somebody. and the person she's warning, I think, is common cause. And what she's saying is that president must have a say in naming the successor. So this is a major departure from what the president believes in. Do you agree?
Yes, yes, I do agree.
So what is the president's position? This speech was on the 26th of, it was on the 26th of July.
Right.
Now, we can now take what the president said in terms of succession, so that we have a feel as to what this was all about. So what did he actually say? I will not appoint a successor. And to whom is this message directed? This is on September 11th, 2017. The First Lady on the 26th of July said, name a successor. On the 11th of September, the person you said name a successor is actually saying, I will not appoint a successor. Do you see a shared approach to succession, or you see a difference between the wife and the husband?
There's still a difference between the wife and the husband in the issue of succession.
Okay. The wife is saying it's high time you appoint, and she says she has been arguing with her husband. So in legal terms, what is an argument?
Without going to the semantics, I can say there's a dissenting view on the way forward.
So
putting your views, and also with evidence on why she wants the president to appoint the president.
An argument generates a counter argument.
Yes.
And once there is consensus, the argument evaporates.
Exactly.
One argument remains. So we now have the wife saying, appoint a successor, and the other person says, I will not do that. So there's a contestation. Would you agree?
No, I fully agree.
And there is no consensus in terms of what should happen.
Exactly.
So we've shared some documents, and those documents, I think it's an article, it says, I will not appoint a successor. And the President Mugabe says, and this was in the Herald, carried in the Herald. President Mugabe said he will not appoint a successor, as that is not constitutional, but a responsibility of the party's Congress, which convenes every 5 years. So he is not only presenting a counter argument to his wife, he is also saying, your argument is unlawful. Yeah?
That's constitutional.
He's also saying that it's not permitted within the four corners of the constitution of the party. Then the next ZANU-PF Congress is due in 2019, addressing scores of ZANU-PF supporters on the fifth leg of the presidential youth interface rallies at Chipadze Stadium in Bindura on Saturday, President Mugabe said the law did not allow him to appoint his own successor. So he's not only responding to his wife in a family setting. He's actually trying to educate her that this falls out of lobbying. You can't lobby me to do that which is not permissible. Is that your impression?
Yes, yes. It's very clear. He emphatically reported propositions by the first lady and other players for him to name a success or to anoint a success.
Okay. But has this aspect been noted in the public space? That actually the First Lady is trying to negotiate?
What the traffic is widely reported by the Herald, which is a government-owned print paper, and also in ZBC. So
no, it was recorded, but has it been recorded that there is a difference of opinion between the husband and wife?
No, it has not been recorded. We can only analyze it.
Huh?
It's by that.
No, okay. We have Jeremiah Mazikiti says this is good. What this program help Zimbabweans may be and can be behind, or may you or you are making on media is good. Why speak straight on Zimbabwe problems? I don't know what Jeremiah. What are you saying? Are we adding value to the analytical framework to speak to issues that are commonly discussed? Because when we think of President Mugabe, there are people who are saying that he wants his wife to be a successor. And there's another camp that is also saying President Mugabe has preference outside that. So if you think it's not an important subject to delve into, then you must say so. So, Mr. Dumisani, are you getting the correct impression that we could be missing something? That actually President Mugabe does not support the First Lady to be his successor?
Yes, I think there's that possibility. It's clear. They've had numerous discussions at the family level and failed to agree on a policy.
And he is repeating in September and contradicting an earlier statement. So which statement becomes valid? The July statement by the First Lady or the September statement by the President?
I think the rebuttal by the President.
Okay.
Because the President is being aged to a point where no success.
So he is saying, I will not do it. And if you want to do it yourself. But I'm not part of that. Do we get the same impression?
Yes.
Okay. So let's go to what the President is saying so that we can see the differences in the construction of this whole thing, that actually we got a problem. Okay. The president is saying, we never have had our presidential system procedures and guided by the rules of the party. That's what the president said. That's core. We never had our presidential system. Hello?
Yes, okay.
Yeah, he's saying we never had our presidential system procedures and guided by the rules of the party. And who is he talking to when he says that? What do you think that to whom was the statement directed?
I think it was a direct reply to his wife, who is also the secretary for Women's League.
So this is actually two people coming from the same house, same bedroom.
Yes.
And they are now going into the public to say, I don't agree with you. Hatina kumbofata zviita isu kuti mumwe anoti seni I'm president now ndoti ndoda kusiya Ngana, ndoda kusiya Mai Mugabe, ndoda kusiya Emerson Mnangagwa, ndoda kusiya Mpoko as my successor. Huh?
Yes, sir.
He is saying that clearly that he is not part of that conversation.
Exactly.
That don't include me there.
Yes.
It is contrary to the constitution, my wife. I cannot do it. It is not allowed. So this is now the husband talking to the wife. Constitution inoti munhu anosarudzwa ku Congress. The constitution is clear that a person would be selected at Congress. Ini ndingava ndine candidate I may have a candidate for sure, but anosungirwa kunge achikwikwidzana nevamwe macandidates ku Congress, and I follow. The wife was saying, no, you are not a follower. You are the head of the pack. And what is the husband saying?
He says he's a follower. He follows the constitution.
He follows the constitution. And then, I am a lawyer also.
Yes.
And my wife, you are not a lawyer. I follow the law, but you are entitled to speak as you must. But don't get yourself into the wrong lane. I follow the regulations very strictly. Handidi kuzonzi ndini ndakasiya mukadzi wangu. Aiwa. No. Is that correct? Zvinoitwa nevamwe vari kuma-French countries. Kana ari Mandela akaita izvozvo, let it remain on the other side of the Limpopo, but not in my name. I'm not going to name a successor. Hatidaro muzanu, we don't do that in ZANU PF. Tine history yakaisonaka yeparty yedu. We have an impeccable history in terms of selecting who should lead. It so happened that I've won all the elections, and I am the president, not because I have put myself in front of the people. and tinoda kuti titevedzere iyoyo zvakanaka. We want to be stricter to the rules. And yes, you may have your impatience as my wife, but I didn't marry you so that you take over anything. But if you got the people supporting you, who am I to stop you? So this is kokuenda to place their pleas. Kuti takaona zvakati hatingarambe tiri kunze, tava kuti tava kuda kudzoka kupati, but hatingava. Is it no, President Mugabe also took a dig at rogue war veterans. First it was a dig on who, Dumisani? Dumisani, are you still there? I think we have lost Dumisani. Okay, let me just check whether. President Mugabe also took a dig at rogue war veterans. First it was a dig on who. What is going on now?
Playing from your laptop.
Huh?
It's playing from the laptop.
Are you still
Let's
there?
say. Oh,
Just mute it.
I think we have lost the message.
okay.
Remove the check.
Okay. So let's see where this is coming from. Okay, so I think we have lost Dumisani. Let's see. They as we continue with this narrative, let's see if there are any comments. Okay, so we continue. President Mugabe also took a dig at rogue war veterans expelled from ZANU-PF who insist on commenting on party issues, claiming to be speaking on behalf of VP Mnangagwa. He said ZANU-PF would not entertain them and that those who wanted to come back knew party procedures. Avakomana ava Zimbabwe National Liberation War Veterans Association leaders vari kupengereka hamene kuti chavari kupengereka chii, said President Mugabe. So President is talking to the war vets, and what is he saying? He's saying they are like misguided missiles. They are randomly talking about succession without understanding what the rules are and what they provide for. So that is his take. Then we have Kana achinzi masupporters ava Mnangagwa asingazivi kuti constitution yedu yakamira sei vanofanira kudzidziswa. That is the president speaking now to Mnangagwa and his supporters, or alleged supporters, that if really you want to help Mnangagwa, organize yourselves. Don't count on me to be involved in matters that fall outside the four corners of the law. Succession is not my business, but is the business of the members of the party. Kana achinzi masupporters ava Mnangagwa. No, it is a pity. Could they have decided to go that way? But we should not support them. And it is right and only right that we should never entertain them. They are wrong. And they have been punished by the party. And we should not entertain them. Kana vave kuda kudzoka. Vanoziva gwara. Vanoziva kokuenda to place their pleas. Kuti takaona zvakati hatingarambe, takaona zvakati hatingarambe tiri kunze tava kuda kudzoka kupati, but hatingavadaidzi isu kuti come and be associated with us, he said. So there is a narrative that is there. That narrative says we can't entertain, we can't mislead people. We need to lead them correctly. No, it is completely wrong. Saka, I hope Mnangagwa, you take that advice into account. To the extent that Mnangagwa, you are involved in this conspiracy, in this machination, please take heed. Give them the language if they want to languish in the dark where they choose to be. We do not pay them to come back. Turning to the forthcoming elections, Mugabe stressed the need for unity among ZANU-PF members. So on the basis of this narrative, it would appear that although the First Lady wants to negotiate, she's still not there yet. She still needs to convince her husband about what to do, and he's still not sold on the idea of naming a successor. If you are watching, please tell us your view. Do you think the analysis that the First Lady and her husband are not talking the same language is correct? If not, tell us why. If yes, please amplify so that we can bring it to the level that everybody can understand, so that we can then see or predict or anticipate what is to happen in this to and fro. One day the wife says this, the next day husband says this, and tomorrow the president may be convinced. So when people look at the special Congress, yesterday it was not on the agenda, now it's on. But what does it seek to do? Is it part of negotiation, or it's already a fait accompli? People already know what they want to achieve, or they're still negotiating with the president to get him on board that there is a snake in the house, and the only plausible option is to have an elective Congress at which a new paradigm will then be given life to. What is your take? Perhaps it is all a ploy to keep the masses confused. That's Frederick Gibson. A ploy on whose part, Frederick? There must be somebody who benefits from playing mischief. Who would be the ploy? I think if we look at the past 37 plus years, do you think the thinking and paradigm that has informed President Mugabe has changed? That he has no business being involved in the succession or appointment of any successor. Do you see any inconsistency or you see a consistency? If there's no consistency, please tell us. Then Frederick says, it's a ploy by ZANU and Grace. Are you saying ZANU is another person and Grace is another person, or Grace is part of this vehicle we call ZANU PF, which is like a bus? Are you saying that Grace and this other bus are one and the same thing, or Grace and ZANU PF are colluding? Because the people they want to eliminate, the warnings that she was giving are warnings to members of ZANU PF. They are not warnings to people who are outside the bus called ZANU PF. They are all inside the bus, including the president. So the president who is driving the bus is driving it towards a destination where none of the above names are part of his naming. Because the moment he names a successor, it means he's already out. What is your take? If you were to name a successor today, what would happen? It means people would then avoid him. And you have already created another center of power while he's a center of power. Right now, he's the only elephant in the room. Naming a successor, don't you think that it creates a little elephant? Because he's saying to his wife, you are no little elephant. I love you as my wife, but don't get involved in matters of succession, because that is outside the law. So if you were to name somebody, don't you think that threatens him, that it may be in his interest to keep Mnangagwa there than to name a successor? Because the moment he names a successor, it means the battle has already begun. It means the elections, he's already saying, I don't need these people in my bus. And the little successor, or the little elephant, will now be in the same room as a big elephant. At a time when people are looking at a new elephant, do you think it would be wise for anyone to name a successor? For the last 37 years, there has been no name. And President Mugabe steadfastly refused to even suggest, even name, even have a speech where he says, this one is better than all the other. So people are just chasing the tail, trying to understand where the chief is going. So Frederick, is it your case that ZANU PF is a living thing, capable of participating in discussions? Oh, this is between Grace and her husband. Grace is saying, my husband, if you die today, there will be chaos. So we need certainty. We need somebody to be named. And therefore, then we can all sit back. And the husband is saying, the moment you do that, the locus of power is already changed. And people will not know, will be confused. And who am I to anoint anybody. Because in the first place, I, as president of Zimbabwe, I was never anointed. So what would give me the legitimacy to anoint somebody? So those are the arguments that I see. And I've heard so many arguments. And some of the arguments are so far-fetched that I thought it would be useful to just share my own insights using the words of the characters involved in this drama. And if you have any contribution to make, please say so that we know whether there's any question that arises out of it. In fact, I was reading, I think there was an article in the Daily News that we can also visit and see what they are saying. Is it today's Daily News? To see whether the journalists are getting the article is entitled "A Congress to Decide Mugabe's Succession." Yeah. So this is what is written. Do you think people get it? Or there is a lot of hallucinations in this game, where people just have verbal diarrhea and they just make statements without regard to the subject matter and the subject of discussion, which is President Mugabe. So what is it that is being written? So that you understand how most of the time we always get it wrong. This was written by Alex Magaisa. A Congress to decide Mugabe's succession, ? The latest twist to ZANU-PF's long-running succession saga is that the ruling party will hold an extraordinary Congress in December. First, he's saying as fact that there's a long-running succession saga. Where is this thinking that there is a succession saga? Because the person who has succeeded himself for the last 37 years is the incumbent. There is nobody else who has come in the fray and say there is a succession dispute. But this is coming from a learned person who is saying, in truth and fact, actually, there is succession. He then goes further to say, to seasoned watchers of Zimbabwe politics, this doesn't come as a big surprise. Surely, are there seasoned people and unseasoned people in watching a drama that has always been constant? In 1980, President Mugabe knew that as long as he's alive, he will not exit. When the Unity Accord was concluded, President Mugabe also knew that the only basis on which the unity could be structured and concluded was if Ngomo was willing to be subordinate, which he did. And there was unity, but it was not unity among equals. So where is this succession? Ngomo came in and confirmed by an accord, an agreement, that as long as I'm alive, I'm not going to be a successor or even dream of being a successor. And that has worked. ZAPU ended its existence, and in its place came a new formation where the identity of ZAPU was supposed to die with it, so that the the structure, the succession was clear. That as long as President Mugabe is alive, he will be his own successor. The timing, however, rather curious, coming as it does, just months before the next general election due in 2018. That a special Congress has been called at this time raises important questions as to what might have prompted it. President Mugabe has already said there is no special thing. He's already been confirmed. And the vice presidents are appointed by him. So the first hurdle is there must be a resolution to make the post of vice president a subject of the party, not the president. So how would this be accommodated? Nobody knows. So these are, then Tongai Chirokot says maybe he does not see a possible replacement. No, President has never seen one from day one. He has never lied about that. Other people have endeared themselves to him. It could be Vice President Mnangagwa versus Jonathan. All of them, they recognize that there's only one elephant in the room. And somebody says the Zimbabwe story is tragic. I think, Tongai, I think you would agree that the narrative has been the same. But people have imported their own ideas into it. And they've tried to test whether Mugabe will show his hand in terms of who should succeed. But so far, for 37 years, as a leader at the helm of this Zimbabwean pyramid, or the public power pyramid, he has not shown that inclination. That is where things stand. And what does Dr. Magaisa say? He says, to use an old metaphor made popular by Chinua Achebe, why has the toad jumped in broad daylight? According to the wisdom of Achebe's Igbo ancestors, it is because something is after its life. Do you think President Mugabe feels threatened? In ZANU-PF, when even Mnangagwa says, I have no ambition as long as you are alive. After you are gone, then it's another story. But President Mugabe has never said anyone who wants to be a successor is qualified to be his deputy. So you have to hear the confession of the Lamb. Somebody has to confess that I'm not interested in being president, and therefore you're qualified for appointment. Ma'am Juru was removed for having that idea that she was senior to others and therefore more eligible than others, that she had a better claim. The First Lady also thinks that she has a better say in terms of succession. Whether she wins or not, that is a battle that is unfolding. According the Big Saturday read asks what has prompted President Mugabe to call for a special Congress and what it could mean both for ZANU-PF and Zimbabwean politics in general. To understand the motives for the special Congress and its possible implications, it is important to identify its source. Formally, the special Congress has been demanded by the provinces. In reality, however, the provinces were simply acting in response to a remote prompt controlled by Mugabe, the ZANU-PF godfather. Mugabe would turn around and say, I'm not a godfather. But it's self-evident that if people think Mnangagwa is a possible successor and you are going for a special Congress, let the provinces decide. If they want me to be challenged by Mnangagwa, I've given him enough opportunity for him to come out of the closet and speak. If he thinks I'm old, then let's go to a special Congress before the national election so that I see who wants to contest me. You can call him a godfather, but all he's saying is, I'm no godfather. I'm subjecting myself to an electoral process, and that's constitutional. If you want to import new resolutions, go ahead. Let the provinces decide. I'm not going to give them the agenda, but if they come and say this is what they want, the Central Committee will then endorse whatever they want. But I don't want my hand in it. If anyone wants to challenge me in ZANU-PF, let them come forward and say, we have a better president in so and so and so and so. That's what I'm hearing. This doesn't require an intellectual treatise. Just requires a pedestrian look at what the facts are. When did President Mugabe ever decide that he wanted somebody to take over? Where is this foreign idea coming? It is because Mugabe is a plan. Mugabe's plan has been consistent. Is that I will not be involved in any scheme, any plan that will result in me having a say as to who should be my successor. That is what he's saying. That's what he said to his wife. That, my wife, you are wrong, and I'm talking to you in public, so that there is no gossip about it. But still people want to believe that Mugabe has got another plan. If he's got another plan, the wife would have known about it already. The fact that she's negotiating, it means there is no new plan. Lawyers are familiar with the principle that you don't ask a witness a question whose answer you have not thought about. Mugabe is saying, give us the agenda. Let the provinces decide. But Dr. Magaisa interprets it otherwise. What he's saying is that Mugabe is this genius. He has already concocted a system, and he alone knows the outcome. Yet, there are people who are there. Why can't they sneak a resolution that Mugabe, you're old, and you are a spend force, you are a liability for 2018, so we would rather retire you in the party and keep you outside humiliation. But all the provinces to date, they all have said that they, including the stronghold of Mnangagwa, Midlands and Mashingo, they are at one with the other 8 provinces that actually there is no harm in making Mugabe their candidate. If anyone was saying, no, Mugabe will be tested in 2019, it's too late. He's saying, let's test it now. So that if there's anyone who is dreaming, let him dream in the public arena. And let's go for the special Congress so that we are all at one. Then, lawyers, likewise, Mugabe will not have called for a Congress unless he already has a plan for it. What Mugabe said and the political meeting said, he said the people must decide. And this question has been put by the commissariat to the members of ZANU-PF through their provincial structures to say, give us your feedback. And we collect the results and we present it to the Central Committee and say, this is the wishes of the same people who are coming to the Central Committee. So, according to Mugabe, he's just being democratic. But Dr. Magaisa sees it as otherwise. That actually Mugabe is not a Democrat. And he believes he is a super Democrat. Better than Mandela, who is alleged to have appointed what? Appointed back. So those are the things that we need to have a mindset on and be able to see this conundrum in its proper perspective or context. So if we look at the narrative, and we look at the intellectual narrative, and look at the subject, which is President Mugabe, what he is saying, guys, leave me out of succession. I have no wish to be part of it. Then shelter Chiburugwe. Husband knows his Kamchacha very well. She wants to take advantage of age of the president. But what we see is shelter that the husband is not confused about where he is going. He is saying, I will name my successor in my coffin. So if you want a successor, you are not going to get it from me. And the message is democratically shared. It's shared to all, that including the wives, those who have ears can hear for themselves, that actually Mugabe is talking to the country, talking to the party members, that if you can't hear me correctly, hear it again. So the only tragedy is that sometimes we take an intellectual look at what Mugabe is doing and never actually understand what kind of mind informs his utterances, his choices. Any suggestion that the Special Congress has been imposed upon him would be a serious underestimation of Mugabe's wily and calculating nature. Now Mugabe is portrayed as a calculating human being. All he's saying is that I have nothing to calculate. If there is somebody who naively believes that I'm old and I'm useless, that person ought to come to the fore, and I will deal with him, and I will sort him out in a public space. And he is confident that actually this thing will not have any takers. None of the factions or so-called factions will actually volunteer to be part of this experiment, which experiment has only one outcome in ZANU-PF. So he is challenging to say, if you believe that the Special Congress, I've lost my spark because of age or because of what you read or what you see on television, if you think I'm asleep, then come to the fore, and then you see me wide awake, and I'll be waiting for you at the Special Congress. So, but why now? This is the question that Dr. Magaisa is asking. Maybe genuinely, because that's all his intellectual mind can generate. He says Mugabe does not need another Congress to endorse him as the candidate for the 2018 election. There's been a lot of talk about his age, about his irrelevance, about succession. He's saying, look, if the party wants a successor, if the party wants to elect a successor, that's up to them at a Congress. I will not stop them. I'm going to the Special Congress, but you know who is the candidate of ZANU-PF in 2018. Mugabe already has got 10 provinces in his pocket. But he's saying if there's another item on the agenda, bring it on. Don't stop it. And I will not interfere. But he already knows that his position is secure. So if there was succession, as the article would seem to imply, and it was an agenda, it says a Congress to decide Mugabe's succession. He's saying, so far, there is no name that has come forward as a possible successor. Therefore, how can I talk about succession without an interested party in that enterprise? There is nothing turns on all these volumes of intellectual analysis, because the subject matter has already said, I am not available to advocate or to abdicate or to make room for anybody, including my wife.
Yeah.
So where is this analysis coming from? And where is this big idea coming from? There must be some big idea somewhere. This year's conference, which was scheduled for Rwanda, would have confirmed the same resolution. So, no, he has not called for a special congress because he's concerned about his candidature. It was already in the bag. It's already in the bag. There must be other reasons why Mugabe felt they need to convene a congress. It is important to examine what Congress can do, which could not be done by conference. Mugabe is saying there are people in the party who are talking about factions. So if there are factions, the only way to gamma talks them is to bring them into a formal structure where they can ventilate their own opinions. And actually, if they want to remove him, he is also available to be removed.
Yes.
And he's saying that if you don't come forward in December, then there is a problem, because you have elected to be outside the ring. And the ring is a constitutional ring, according to Mugabe. Come into the ring, then we contest. He is not saying I want to shy away from a battle of ideas, a rebellion of ideas. If Mnangagwa wants to come in and he's a leader of a faction and he wants to be a little elephant, but he's not going to be a little elephant in the room where the big elephant is still alive. There is no room for a little elephant. There's no room for a vice president with the ambition to be president. 4 have already died trying to be president, but they understood that it was enough for them to be deputy vice president. And that's the way it has always been. Then it was already in the back, and Mugabe has always insisted that he will not anoint a successor, but that is up to the party to select a leader. This is consistent with his perennial desire to be seen as a stickler to rules, a desire that is often inconsistent with actual practice. What is the actual practice after 37 years? One may ask Dr. Makaisa. What are you saying? The practice has been Mugabe succeeded Mugabe, and Mugabe is the only elephant in the room. All the so-called factions, they have accepted that as a principle. So where is this confusion about somebody creating another private meeting, which the First Lady was warning people that how do you create a little elephant outside the room when there's only one big elephant, and that is the president? And there cannot be a crocodile coming out of the elephant. The elephant is standing on its feet. And he's saying, my friend, the practice, he has always been consistent, that if you want to fight me, come to the Congress. But it so happens that nobody has got the balls to get into the sticking. Those who have had balls, they have to exit. Because inside the room, they'll find there are a lot of bees that are willing to make a mincemeat out of you. So, Farai Mnemo says, the problem with that, with ZANU-PF, is if a person shows an aspiration to become a president, that person is accused of wanting to kill Mugabe. No, this is not a problem of ZANU-PF. Mugabe is not ZANU-PF, he has said that. Please, let's not put ZANU-PF in front to make an argument. Let the argument stand on its own. President Mugabe has got his own views, but those views may not be shared by other members of the party who may think he's old and therefore he's they have his actuarial report that the man is going to die. But he has defied the laws of nature. He has seen buried 4 vice presidents. So there may be another one who may not make it. But don't test somebody and say you are going to die. I got here a health report. Let the analysis not be based on actuarial evaluation. Let the analysis be based on fact. In yesterday it was Mujuru, and today it's Mnangagwa. Divide and rule works for Mugabe. Mugabe said, I have nothing to divide. All these mosquitoes that are behind me, they are political mosquitoes. I am the elephant in the room. If I'm elephant in the room, then please understand that. So let's go to the special congress to confirm that age-old idea that there is one elephant in the room. And if you want to be a deputy, you must know that number 1 does not mutate to number 1. Number 2 does not mutate to number 1. It's not like that. You still have to pass through elections. So he is very clear. It doesn't require an intellectual to understand where the direction is going. And according to, since Congress is the only body that can elect the party president, this has given rise to the theory that Mugabe wants to retire. Where is the theory coming from? Mugabe's term ends in 2019. So let's not import theories into people's ideas. Mugabe is an idea that is old. It's 37 plus years old. And he has not had anyone to talk to in Zimbabwe and say, what does it mean to be president? He's the only one who knows what it means to be president. So I'm not sure where this theory comes that he wants to retire. And the special congress will be used to elect a new leader. This is an imagination of futile relevance, fatally defective, and intellectually bankrupt. However, this theory is not supported by the current evidence, all of which points to Mugabe remaining in power. Yes, Dr. Magaisa, that you are correct there. That theory is not yours. The theory is coming from people who are hallucinating. And you have given the two sides of it, the theory and the actual practice. I think that's what you are meaning. You mean inconsistent with actual practice. Mm-hmm. And there's only one man standing. So, in short, he's saying he's the life president. He's not saying he's the life president. He says, please find a reason to remove me. If you got 37 reasons for each year I've been in power, please bring them forward to the special congress and we will meet there. Mugabe is simply saying Congress has to choose. He's saying, this is me. I'm a stricter to rules. And Dr. Magaisa has correctly pointed out that. Then, what else? According to the ZANU-PF constitution, Congress is the party's supreme policy-making organ. It is the only organ that can elect the party's president. Until the 2014 Congress, it used to have the power to elect the party's deputy president. That power was taken away. And so far, nobody is saying the power must be restored. After that, the president was given the authority to appoint a vice president, which means there are nobody. If he dies today, you still have to find your own power. From zero. He has actually reduced this succession to zero-sum game. It's zero. You start with nothing. And if you don't manage to get the troops in order, now, Mugabe will not help you. In life, in death, he is neutral. But he's not neutral about his name being on the ballot paper. That is clear. One of Congress' most important powers is the authority to amend the constitution of the party. Normally it meets every 5 years. However, a special Congress, known as an extraordinary Congress, may be convened whenever it is deemed necessary to do so. And that's what is happening. It has been accepted by the provinces, and there is going to be a constitution. Such a Congress does not deal with general issues. Instead, according to the ZANU-PF constitution, it only deals with only on those matters for which it has been specifically convened. This is the legal framework in which the special Congress in December has been called. But it doesn't stop provinces, the Youth League, the Women's League, sneaking their own interest on the agenda. The purpose of the special Congress would therefore be obvious when the matters for which it has been specifically convened are certain. That is correct observation. This will only be clear when the Secretary of Administration, who is charged with the duty to issue the notice, has done so in accordance with the party constitution. It is that notice which will specify the specific matters for which the extraordinary Congress has been called. However, Ignatius Chombo, the current Secretary of Administration, is only likely to be the messenger. The author of the notice being Mugabe himself. I don't know where that evidence is coming from. Mugabe is saying, author, if you want to remove me, be my guest. If you want to bring new people to be deputies, be their guest. But I am not there to interfere with this. In other words, whatever Chombo sends to the provinces will be what Mugabe wants discussed at the special Congress. This idea of creating a caricature of a Superman, this Rambo-style president who knows everything, who has to think about the agenda. What if Mugabe only has a memory of himself being number one? After that, he doesn't give a damn who becomes number two. It's not his call. If you are number two, you are on your own. So why is this pervasive feeling that Mugabe is this conniving, manipulative, he's got secret meetings? He has never hidden where he stands on issues. He has always been consistent that I am a man of the people, and my party members love me. And to confirm, if you think I'm old, and let's go to the special Congress and discover who is young.
He was appointed recently with UN. Did you check that?
No, that was a goodwill.
Yeah, we see.
But that has been taken away. But no, he's saying that if you have any stretch of imagination, and then you think naively that I came from what? From a picnic, and then all of a sudden you want to remove me.
No, it's not a picnic.
You got a battle in front of you. So he's not saying anything. He says, guys, let's go to Congress. Yeah, we test who's got a better muscle.
Who's got a better arsenal?
Yeah, and if you go there, and you'll be shocked, the 94-year-old will have the last laugh, and other people have hallucinations, creating so-called factions. Okay, so I don't know whether this and no one in ZANU-PF will have the courage to challenge it, and this is the problem. And even so, however, much will depend on how the notice will be worded. It might be couched in a language that is broad enough to include an indeterminate number of issues. Take, for example, a statement from Bulwer province as reported in one of the state-owned media dailies. The provincial chairperson, Dennis Ndlovu, was quoted as saying that apart from reaffirming Mugabe's candidature, the Special Congress will assist the party to realign itself and allow for self-fumigation, which is I think Mnangagwa used that word,
Okay.
fumigation.
Okay.
I think he was talking about the other faction. And now he's saying self-fumigation may actually be meaning that there will be some gamma talks there. And popular while they are enjoying this self-fumigation, where the fumigator will be targeting certain people.
So in that case, you'll be either referred to ticks
Yeah,
or aphids,
yeah.
which needs to be fumigated.
Yeah, it needs to be fumigated. And that's, he's saying, guys, don't play around with politics. This is so broad that it comes virtually under the sun. No, Dr. Magaisa, it's so narrow. They know what they're talking about. It's realignment and fumigation. You already know that there's a message there. That there's number one, number two again. That there's some fumigation that needs to take place. Then Midlands province, on the other hand, has been very specific that apart from reaffirming Mugabe's candidature, they want the special congress to deal with the issue related to the biometric voter registration. This is a state function. This is the SEC, the Zimbabwe Electoral Commission, and polling station-based voting system, and making it clear that no other issues will be discussed. What you need is 6 provinces, 5 plus 1.
And what guarantee is there that even if there is going to be a biometric, you're going to triumph?
No, that's not the agents of the party. You can't call a special congress to talk about biometric, and yet the biometric is being handled outside the biometric. These guys are handling very clear issues. They are only interested in surviving this case, skirmish. So they will fight to just make themselves relevant. And they don't need too much hyperbole.
Maybe the very day of the voting, they will tell you the biometric the sensing of the fingerprint is no longer working. Unless you go to the manual.
Yeah.
Of the paper.
No, they've already said they pretty much know what is going on. And Midlands is saying they limit the agenda. Then the Youth League has called for a special congress to affirm Mugabe's candidature and to amend the constitution to fulfill the Victoria Falls Conference resolution to restore the women's quota to the presidium of the party. No, it's an item that has already been there.
Okay.
What is evident from a survey of the resolutions from all provinces and party organs is that while they are unanimous in one respect, the reaffirmation of Mugabe as the elephant in the room, it is also evident that there are variations on the other matters to be dealt with by the extraordinary Congress. Now the troops are coming. The structure is. Therefore, one thing that is already certain, well before the special Congress is held, is that Mugabe will retain his post as president of ZANU-PF. So he's no longer old.
He's no longer, he's now even...
No, he's got a fresh mandate. So if you thought he had aged between the last Congress and the special Congress, he's just being renewed. And this is what will happen as daylight will follow night. So this is not a picnic. This is a clear message that if you want to remove me, you have a better. You must think twice. So, and there will be no leadership challenge or contest at the special Congress.
Okay.
That matter will not be on the agenda. It also extinguishes any thought that Mugabe might be stepping down at the special Congress. So I think Dr. Magaisa is on point.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just...
So it's the last thing that ZANU-PF would think, that there's no even presidential contestation, is it? I'm saying, coming with a new leader is what ZANU-PF is at the back of the mind. That's the last thing.
No, ZANU-PF is not concerned about this.
Their worries.
No, ZANU-PF has no interest in who becomes the president. But people do. So people are different from ZANU-PF.
Yes.
That's what we are trying to affirm. So he is not going anywhere. Not because he doesn't want to go, but because he's saying, I can't leave my people. I can't abandon my people. Then he is determined to stay on. And his usual justification will be that the people say so. And they've already said so.
Especially that line.
In the Congress. I mean, in the party. The Congress will simply affirm the legitimacy of his claim to carry on as a leader of the party. It's not a claim. It's now been validated. It can't be a claim. I think legally, a claim falls outside the participation of the very people.
So, okay, this will be I mean, legally, it's announced that it's not a claim, like you said. It's legally announced that no, he's the leader. He's carrying on with the journey into 38.
Yeah. So that is what is there. So Ruramai Marsh asks a question. Oh gosh, how do we get rid of him and his ZANU-PF goons? Please, he's crying. I think that question ought to come after we review what is. But there's no excitement to remove him. Nobody has ignited members of ZANU-PF to even think of such. And he's there not because he wants to. He's saying, I'm there because the people say so. And they've voted so. But as we have already observed, Mugabe's candidature in 2018 was never in doubt. The one thing that the two competing factions in his party, why call them factions if all of them are at one? In the belief, in the acceptance of the hegemony of Mugabe, have been unanimous on is that they all back his candidature. And even if this is not an honest reflection of their own ambition, if it's honest, it's outside a dog may not be honest, but it barks outside the car, outside the bus. So Mugabe has no problem with backing people. Because they don't want to come forward. He says, take me on.
It's like dogs without teeth.
But as we have already observed, the contest has been around who loves Mugabe more. I think that is the crux of the matter, Dr. Magaisa. Who loves Mugabe more? None of them has the courage to challenge him. Mugabe would surely not have convened the Special Congress to get a reaffirmation of his candidature when it is a fait accompli, and he could have achieved the same through the Gwanda Conference. Because the moment he hears of factions, he wants evidence. He wants an objective test. And there's no other better way to test it than to go to Congress. And those people who want to take him on must do so. If the people who believe this one is a strong man, he's a future, he's got balls. And he doesn't want to be castrated. He's got 2 months to come forward. But I'm not sure anyone has got balls there. The only person who's negotiating with him is his wife, who is begging to differ. And he said, please name a successor. And he's saying, I'm not. So it means she has to mobilize provinces to say, among the vice president, one of them must be the one who is going to succeed. Because I know my husband will not be involved in that conversation. So the Special Congress must be a victory for those people who are trying to manage the process now and say, we know our client. Our client will not be pushed around.
Intimidated with the enemy.
This means we must look elsewhere for the real motives behind this Special Congress. The answer, in my opinion, lies in the other function that is only reserved for Congress, namely the authority to amend the party constitution. The constitutional amendment is a means to an end, which in this case is dealing with succession through a rearrangement of the party's leadership structure. Managing the future, Mugabe is not the type that retires voluntarily. His wish is to remain in office for life. Mugabe has never said he wishes to remain in office. All he has said is that when my people say I must go, I will go. But even he must be conscious of his own mortality. He has been old for a long time.
Yeah, for a long time.
Yeah, it's not a short time.
Yeah,
And that at some stage, his body will give way.
yeah, true.
Although he is not ready to leave the stage, he might not be considering special arrangements to manage the leadership burden going forward. This is where the important function of Congress, with its authority to amend the Constitution, comes in. However, we must consider potential changes to the ZANU-PF Constitution, which might also have implications at the national level. Eagle-eyed lawyers will point out that ZANU-PF will struggle to make constitutional amendments since there is no time to meet the timelines required under the party's constitution. But seasoned observers will know that such technical niceties have never stopped Mugabe from imposing his will. But what if these so-called legal gurus get it wrong? And they think they know their client, when actually they don't know the person. The person may be just a simple guy who requires a pedestrian understanding. And the pedestrian understanding is saying, my people love me.
Love me. And even if I die today, my spirit will still be with them.
Yeah.
They still love my spirit, even if this body is old and it has died.
Yeah.
But my spirit will be always beloved. It will remain sovereign.
No, he say, encourage George. Mike says, he is simply saying, I'm not going to retire, life president. No, he's saying, as long as my people reaffirm me, how can I abandon them in their time of need?
I cannot.
If there was somebody better than me, Cousin George, you would discover that he would say, bring them on.
And I'll make them my succession.
Then they will participate like everybody else. Ruramai Mash, Zanoids are like drug addicts who are loyal to their dealer. Pure greed. If you call someone a Zanoid, you may miss the point. These are individuals like you who also need to know what is it that would shift the pendulum, the arc, so that people say, now is the time. Let's do it. We know it's not going to happen in ZANU, but surely it must happen somewhere. But what is happening now is that state power is enough of an intimidation to allow anyone who has been in the gravy train to feel otherwise. Sera TK Tiny, we need war period. ZAN end going anyway. Yeah, I mean, if you want war, that's another narrative, but that's not within the four corners. Because once you start that, you will always, you need to ignite people. You need to have simple analysis, Dr. Magaisa. Yeah, these seasoned people. Where have they been? Imagine you have been seasoned for 37 years and you have been hunting and you have never caught anything. You have been fishing and you never caught a fish. Then you must let's democratize democracy. Let's actually bring it to the common man's level. What is going on here? What is happening here? And is it news that Mugabe will be candidate? No. So what are we saying? We don't need eagle-eyed lawyers. Because lawyers may be the problem. over-analyzing, over-analyzing simple things.
Who seem not to really understand their client.
Yeah, we just need to understand what the problem in Zimbabwe is. There's nothing to ignite people. There's nothing to excite people so far.
So far.
Yeah. The time limitations were simply ignored to ensure that Mugabe's will be done. Mugabe is saying, I have no will other than the people's will. Let's understand him. What is he saying privately, publicly?
Save people's will.
It is, it will happen again this time around to accommodate his wishes. What are his wishes? His wishes is to subject himself to an electoral process. And that's what he's doing. Congress will simply approve it unanimously. If it's not, if there was dissent and people wanted him to die quickly, he's saying, kill me politically. I have submitted myself in your face. Last time I submitted, Mujuru was not there. Didimas was not there. But they were given an opportunity to come and bring their balls there for frying. They ran away with their balls. Whoever challenges the legality of the procedures will be told that the party is a private association. Not will be told it is a private association. Either you are in the bus or you are outside. Which has the power to determine how it manages its affairs. Clearly you won't want a dog to come into the bus and then drive the car. They drive the bus. Lawsuits will be futile. As Titmas Mutasa, Rugare Gumbe and others discovered in 2015 after they were unprocedurally expelled from ZANU-PF. They ran away the post. They got the money that they had to spend on lawyers, and the result was known. Probably the most important change in the constitution will be the revival of the women's court and ZANU-PF as presidia. That's negotiation. The first lady is there to assert, because she knows how to manage her own husband. And then the provision which was introduced at the 2004 Congress to facilitate the elevation of Mujuru ahead of Emerson Mnangagwa was expunged at the 2014 Congress. And ironically, in a dramatic reversal of fortunes to elevate Mnangagwa ahead of Mujuru. I don't think that's the correct reading. Yeah. Mnangagwa did not even know that he was going to be a vice president. Mugabe chose among his lieutenants.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it was Mugabe had 34 years to put Mnangagwa in the driver's seat. He didn't need to remove Mujuru to put someone instead. According to Mugabe, there is no faction. He's still trying to understand what are the objectives of these so-called factions. Because in his mind, who would want to be a faction and be number two?
Nobody.
Yeah, that's why I say let's go to Congress. So that those who want to be able to, yeah. Ruramai Marsh says, we are ready to ignite people.
Now, yes.
Just do not want to spend time in Chukurubi. Do you think we have the time to engage the country before elections? So the engagement and discussion and analysis, let's not leave it to the so-called intellectuals. Because it is intellectuals who have always gotten it wrong and thought Mugabe was ready to give. Even Mnangagwa is a lawyer, he must know better. That's what Mugabe was saying. If you are a lawyer like me, why would you want to be a successor? Why would you have private meetings? Why would you waste your money when it's clear as day and night? You don't need to do that. And Mugabe is not even involved in the provinces. They all are thinking for him. And they will come with their own. Then it gave Mnangagwa and his allies the impression that he was now the favorite to succeed Mugabe. No, Mugabe has never said that. Mugabe has also said that Muzenda did not like Mnangagwa. and Mzenda ran away from Midlands to go to Mashingo. So Mugabe has never said, you are my favorite. Mugabe says, as long as you are my subordinate, you are my favorite. But the moment you start hallucinating and dreaming, then you are no longer my favorite. They forgot that the same weapon that had been used to remove Mujuru could be used against them. Sometimes history has no memory. In 2014, it was an easy process of replacing one vice president with another. And by the time the Congress arrived, Mujuru's fate had already been sealed. In fact, Mujuru, Mnangagwa, they didn't even know what was to happen.
Yeah.
Mujuru is the only one who kept quiet and thought that tomorrow will be bright. On this occasion, however, Mugabe is two vice presidents in situ. And if ZANU-PF amends the constitution to accommodate a female vice president, he has to work out a way of how he will accommodate her without disappointing the others. He has the power to appoint, he has the power to disappoint. He doesn't worry about number two. After he's been reaffirmed, he can throw you like a condom. He doesn't need Dr. Magaisa. Understand your man. He is going to the Congress to be armed with the requisite authority so that he doesn't have to waste his time negotiating with people. So after Congress, anything is possible. For reasons examined later in the BSR, I do not think Mugabe is ready to remove Mnangagwa, at least not before the election due in 28. Mugabe has no need for number two. He appoints them and disappoints them. As long as Mnangagwa acquits himself, now he's got an added problem. Because the wife is saying, I already know what is happening. And I know what the mischief is. Look at the social media. How many people are emotionally attached to Mnangagwa? Why would they choose out Mnangagwa and say Mnangagwa is better than you, my husband? If Mnangagwa was better, I may have married him. But I married you. You are the boss of bosses. And all of a sudden, we are all being confused by this new narrative that places my husband in competition with his subordinates. How can a driver compete with a passenger? To do what?
It's impossible.
It's impossible. Unless there's some coup d'etat. There is a strong possibility, therefore, first suggested in an earlier BSR that ZANU-PF could move to have 3 vice presidents. No, it depends on how people behave between now and the Congress. The more people think that Mnangagwa is a victim, it's going to upset and piss off Mugabe. And he's going to react. It's like Memjur, they did Masumtasa. After having traveled so far, going nowhere, then he then says he wants to be in Mjuru's camp in a wrong basket. There is only one basket.
Why?
That is Mugabe's basket.
If you're out, you're out.
Yeah, this is a safe arrangement which ensures that the current VPs retain their post and everyone will be happy. I don't think Dr. Amai will be happy with that eventuality, because she knows that if there's a snake in the house, we need to pounce on it. As to the identity of the female candidates, I had to see anyone beyond Grace Mugabe herself on this occasion. She may decide, depending on the overwhelming support. You may discover by the time there were people say, all power to Amai. Because Amai has shown that she's got balls. She's the only one who can fight. Yeah, because she is providing an alternative narrative. She is fighting her husband and as to the future of the country. Should it go back to the war veterans? Should it be stuck in 1979 politics? Or the country needs new actors, new people who are not bound by this constraint. So, her rise to the helm of the Women's League in 2004 was part of her political apprenticeship in preparation for higher office, you may discover that there was no preparation. Other people thought it was a good idea, and she was convinced. Then there are other people who are also thinking now to say, in front of all this confusion, if we turn left, we are okay. If we turn right,
We still okay.
no, we are not okay.
We are
Yeah, why would you turn right when you know there are caterpillars there? Huh? There are cockroaches waiting for you. There are chameleons.
They'll eat you.
They will eat you alive, and there could be crocodiles. And you are. So this is not a picnic. This requires a sober analysis and not very intellectual. This is about power. Anything is possible between now and then. People will make you irrelevant without you knowing. Okay, according to this line of thought, the female vice president slot might be handed to another woman.
Yeah.
Grace would focus on her role at the Women's League. It depends on the contestation, because the stakes are high, especially if people are talking about mortality.
Yeah.
Anyone can wake up dead,
Wake up.
and they say, shit, we should have known. Imagine in Malawi,
Yeah.
when Mutharika died,
Yeah.
they didn't know how to handle it.
Bingo.
Bingo. Yeah. And they wanted to finish. The vice president had discovered it was too late. The death happened before they had done their machinations. And they were thrown out of the bus. And everybody is watching. They know there are many examples of people being thrown out of the bus. So that is according to the end, but this argument overlooks the fact that Grace might have long passed the threshold of crudeness. Grace has shown in recent years that nothing is beyond here.
Yeah.
She has publicly dressed down two vice presidents, ministers, and senior government officials. Crude is no constraint upon you. If she wants to be vice president, she won't stop on account of any fears that it might look crude. Furthermore, it's hard to see which of the current women in ZANU-PF Grace would approve to get ahead of her. Sandy Moyo and Sarah Mahoka, former allies, were demoted the moment they appeared to threaten her preeminence. Besides, Grace might have lost the appetite to continue outsourcing to other people. She claims to have engineered Mujuri's rise. She doesn't claim. She's got all the evidence to the vice president ahead of Mnangagwa. In 2014, she was a key architect. She's not claiming in Mujuri's downfall, which opened the way for Mnangagwa's rise. In both cases, she has forced to install proxies who have turned out to be disappointments. Would she do it again for a third time, plotting Mnangagwa's downfall only to hand over the title to another woman? She might decide that it's time to take it. Sack Mugabe, it's a question mark. Sack, not Mugabe, Mnangagwa. Let me now turn to the question of Mnangagwa's situation in the Special Congress. Most believe that the Special Congress is designed to handle Mnangagwa or to fire Mnangagwa, as the doctor says. This is because Mnangagwa's fortunes have dipped dramatically since his rise to the vice president. He never rose in 2014. Mugabe used the latest cabinet reshuffle in October 2017 to further clip Mnangagwa's wings. There was no clipping. Mnangagwa maybe. Mnangagwa never said he wanted to be president in front of Mugabe. Even then, Mugabe kept in cabinet when most people thought he would be sacked. That's what people are thinking. Mugabe, as long as you are nobody, he doesn't give a damn. Mugabe's approach to Mnangagwa is complicated by a long and close relationship the two men have shared from their time in the war trenches to the past 37 years in the corridors of power. This long and close, there's an assumption that Mugabe and Mnangagwa are close. There's an assumption that Mugabe and Grace are close. But do they think alike?
No.
No. Where is this closeness and long? Yes, long. The passage of time doesn't mean you are close.
Yes, you're close.
But who is testing this? Who is spreading this? Where is this? Where is the data to show that they are close? Because if they were close,
Who is this one?
Mnangagwa would be already vice president for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Huh? But there is some residual intellectual thinking that Mnangagwa and Mugabe are close. And that is complicated. What is complicated? Mnangagwa lost a constitution, he was made speaker, was made minister of rural. This is not the first time Mnangagwa has been placed in some opaque ministries or has been reshuffled. And he has never shown any signs of rebellion, except the people around him are the ones who are rebelling on his behalf. Not him. So where is this intellectual analysis? In all this, Mnangagwa has been ever-present lieutenant. What does the ever-present weigh? Huh? When Mugabe sleeps, he sleeps with his wife. He's not present there. The water carrier who has dutifully performed the ugly work for the master. What ugly work? You are saying that Mnangagwa is an agent. Huh? Yet, the other people who say Mnangagwa is smart.
So that doesn't tally.
That doesn't tally. You can't be an agent at the same time you're a principal.
No.
There's something missing. A point that has been at pains to emphasize in recent weeks. There are two important signs from the cabinet reshuffle, which gave us an insight into Mugabe's approach towards Mnangagwa. I don't think Mugabe is faced by Mnangagwa. No. First, it is noteworthy that Mugabe moved to do his reshuffle just the days before Mnangagwa was due to give his rebuttal of Professor Jonathan Mose's serious accusations regarding his alleged successionist agenda. Mugabe may not have thought about all these shenanigans. His thinking was around the broader. He even said Maim Pumira was removed because what? Not because of these so-called faction-driven things. Okay. Could Mugabe not have waited for his subordinate side before carrying out a drastic reshuffle which left him weaker and more vulnerable after he removed or demoted Mnangagwa's ally? Mnangagwa was always weak. He came into Mugabe's life as an individual. The moment Mugabe knows that you got a faction, then already you are saying something. You are saying that Mugabe is not in control. How come you could have a faction and you have followers in Mugabe's cabinet? And who appoints all the members? It's Mugabe who appoints all the members to cabinet. It's not the other way around, that Mugabe has to consult Mnangagwa for appointment. It doesn't work that way. So, naturally, Mugabe had advanced knowledge of Mnangagwa's defense. A natural way, this nature, doctor.
There's no nature there.
What about if it's just accidental, a conflation of factors?
Not nature.
And he moved to neutralize it with the reshuffle before Mnangagwa delivered. What threat would Mnangagwa pose to Mugabe and still remain in his cabinet?
That's what I wanted to ask too.
Second, that Mugabe returned Mnangagwa in his cabinet, notwithstanding his alleged transgression, shows that Mugabe subscribed to the old age adage that you keep your friends close and your enemies close. Mugabe doesn't regard anyone as a friend. So he's not interested in, he's still gathering his ammunition. And he decides, as he may decide, all his people are subordinates to him. And the deputy president has told them they're just assistants. They are not senior. They don't have a lottery ticket to power. At best, he demotes them, but he keeps them within close range. In this respect, both Moi and Mnangagwa share something in common. If Mugabe knows Mnangagwa is smelling, he will remove him. But so far, the argument that has been imposed on Mugabe is that Mnangagwa wants to take over from Mugabe. That argument does not wash. That's why he says, I don't understand where this Lacoste is. Who's G40? What is their intention? So Mugabe doesn't have that wisdom to know what is in what is in Mnangagwa's head. Mugabe is just an ordinary human being who is trying to figure out what is the driving force behind this confusion. Today I hear a faction, tomorrow I hear the faction. And what are they planning to do? If they want to remove me, I'm going to do special congress so that they do it.
Yes, sir.
But there is nothing happening.
It has been done.
Okay. Yeah?
Oh, it's the previous one. You read that one, is it?
Okay.
Yeah.
He knows that men are ambitious. Mugabe, Mugabe is hopeless on the economic front, but he is an astute and cunning gladiator on the political front. Where is the cunning? Where is the astute? Who is measuring?
No.
Who is the measuring this gladiation on the with a knack for charming and neutralizing enemies?
It is in our,
No, if he
nothing like that.
he has seen Nyagumbu leave, Enos Ngala, they all were booted out. Mutumbuka, they were booted out. Mugabe has no friends. His approach to Mnangagwa and Moyo is not different. No. Mugabe is saying, what is your course of action? And doctor, give us something to work with. But you are just recycling. He knows both men are ambitious. He doesn't even know ambition. If you're ambitious, who do you want to be president? For 37 years, and you have been in the closet. And then you say you're ambitious. Jonathan went outside the bus, came in the bus, and he loves now the new bus. And then you say he's ambitious. That they present a potential serious challenge to him. Jonathan was outside. He came. What does that show? That shows Mugabe is perhaps invincible.
Yeah, I remember.
A Congress to decide succession. He knows Moyo has been critical of him and that Mugabe is ambitious to Mnangagwa is ambitious to replace him. Where is this ambition? The moment Mugabe discovers Mnangagwa has got ambition to remove him, then you see Mugabe. Mnangagwa supporters, the fact that Mnangagwa is supporters, when there's no vacancy, then there's a problem. Not with Mugabe. Mugabe says, why do you need supporters? To do what? Yeah? Supporters believe Mugabe could not sack him because he's too powerful. How can you be powerful and yet be castrated?
No.
Yeah?
Then it means you have lost that bull.
You are not.
Yeah, you are not. You have lost that bull pride.
You never had it.
Yeah.
But people say it's too powerful.
No, it's not
Powerful where? In whose house? If you stay in someone else's house,
Right.
you are not free.
Not free, yes.
How can I be powerful and I have a little pool, a little elephant in my house?
Blood.
What they forget is Mugabe's interest is to contain. Mugabe doesn't need to contain anyone. He knows that he's got a unanimous support.
This one.
Just as he does in relation to Moyo. He doesn't need to contain Moyo. It is the Chikuku Watawata strategy. That Chikuku
It's a one word, Chikuku Vatavata.
Chikuku Watawata.
Yeah.
Chikuku is
Yeah, it's more like something that comes in a hidden. You know what a
yeah.
python does?
That Mugabe uses against rivals.
Yeah, rivals.
Does Mugabe have a rival?
No, he doesn't have.
When he has 10 out of 10, Dr. Magaisa, you can't get 10 out of 10.
Yes, there's no rival.
Then you say you failed the exam.
There's no rival. There's no competition. There's no.
Making you feel comfortable and useful, unaware of the answers that lie had. Mugabe doesn't have anyone.
Anyone there. He's in the ring like boxing, but with no one to box.
Yeah. Unongo humana uyo. Where is he? John Boxer Gaji. So, I don't think there's any. If Mugabe intends to use a special congress to fire Mugabe, he doesn't need a special congress to fire a vice president who he appointed. He's just a senior minister.
Simple.
It will be out of character because it is far too predictable and obvious. Mugabe doesn't need to be predictable. He can decide any minute to say, my friend, I don't need you. Mugabe is more deceptive. Why? How can someone who goes for a special congress be deceptive? Who does he need to deceive? When everybody's a wimp. No, but the most predictable thing is that you sack Mnangagwa in December. Predictable to who? Mugabe does not need a timetable to get rid of it. The moment he discovers that you are a menace to the order that he believes in, he has to take you on, head on. You may not even need to get to Congress. Like Mujuru, it is too late. I doubt that this is his plan. It would be odd because it would mean Mugabe takes Mnangagwa for a fool. I mean, Mugabe does not need to have smart people around him. If you're smart, it doesn't take you 37 years to know what time it is. The economy has been collapsing and you are smart enough not to see it. Who will willingly walk into an obvious trap without any form of resistance between now and Congress? The issue is not about Mugabe versus Mnangagwa, because Mugabe has no competitor. That is not there. So please, let us not create things that are not there. And simply imagining things is not useful in any discourse. So we need to be able to find another reason why we can exclude somebody, and it's still okay.
Yeah.
Hmm? Okay. So if you take that, and then the more likely route is that Mugabe intends to keep Mnangagwa on the edge. Why does he need to keep any of his followers on the edge?
No reason.
But will ultimately retain him, just as he did in the recent cabinet reshuffle. The moment he discovered that Mnangagwa is the leader of a faction that is talking about things that are not within the constitutional space, within the legal frame that he has set out and he has religiously abided to, that person is gone.
Already.
Yeah. If he discovers that the allegations are correct, that Mnangagwa had a plan to be vice president for the intention of taking over outside the four corners of the support of the members of the party, he's gone. The 2018 election is not far off, and Mugabe will want to feign unity at the special congress, not at the expense of Mugabe being irrelevant. Mugabe is relevant according to him because he's an elected office bearer. He's not keeping Mnangagwa because he's a proxy president or because he's popular. He knows that Mnangagwa will remain submissive as long as he remains part of the system. How does he know that? He is asking Mnangagwa, come forward and tell people the truth, that you are nobody according to me. And for you to be somebody, get your political balls, bring them forward. And if you can stand your ground, you're a man. But don't come this far. I have seen four vice presidents die. I have removed Mujuru. I have removed Mutasa. Rugare Gumbo. Guess who is crying to come back? Before too long, they all divided. Yeah. So if you want to be a member of the opposition, it's called out there. Then he knows that nonetheless the special congress will be used to further dismantle any pillars of support that Mnangagwa still retains within the party while strengthening a rival. Mugabe doesn't recognize anyone who is in the party who is threatening shadow boxing.
Exactly.
No. This analysis that it misleads people into thinking that there is something more to it than just simply a system where citizens have actually now believed that they don't count, but you need a strong man to count. So you gravitate towards a little elephant, and when the big elephant does not need a little elephant to be an elephant. The cabinet reshuffle showed that he's also ready to, I don't know, the key allies of Mnangagwa will be dropped. And new actors like the new Justice Minister and former DG of the CIO, Epton Bonyongwe, will be appointed to take on key roles. Those who have fallen out of favor will be dropped. It's natural that if you have the power to appoint, you can also disappoint.
Exactly.
The cabinet reshuffle showed that he is also ready to bring back into the fold those who have repented after previous punishment. The likes of Webster Shamu will be rewarded and brought back into the Central Committee and Politburo. In a way, after the cabinet reshuffle, the Special Congress will be Mugabe's opportunity to reshuffle the party leadership. But, Doctor, you're saying the obvious. Why would Webster want to go where there's no cash? If Mnangagwa retains his place, he will be alone, a very lonely figure in the corridors of power. It's for Mnangagwa to acquit himself and go to Dr. Amai to say, Dr. Amai, what you see, you got more access than I have. So she's got access to influence. She's got access to manage. And if you're not married to the man who makes the decision, then you are a bed away from him. And it's not a phone call away. You are far.
A bed away.
And this is not going to help anyone. But without the courage to walk away and defy his master, he will be well and truly contained. Why does Mugabe need to contain? The first day they said already that why would I be jealous of Mugabe's appointees when I got the trophy? Yeah? You have won the Golden Globe Award.
Yeah.
Then you are afraid of the runner-up.
Of the runners-up.
This is the Olympics.
That's important.
I got the gold. You got the silver.
Yeah.
And you got the bronze. Then I go and marry the bronze. Am I stupid?
Yeah.
This is crazy.
Insanity.
Insanity in motion. Yeah. This is very clear. Then conspicuous in the ZANU-PF succession is the incessant trading of personal insult between the key figures and the ideological bankrupts. You talk about ideological bankruptcy. Let's have an analysis that is not bankrupt. Then we ignite people to start investing in facts, in the truth. But we cannot continue to be analytically bankrupt, then expect geniuses to flow from what? From our analysis. Apart from fighting to show who loves Mugabe more, none of the factions have shown any ideological orientation. There can't be any ideological orientation. Yeah, there can't be any ideological orientation because there's no dispute in terms of ideology. Yeah, there's no dispute in terms of ideology. If there was ideological confusion, it doesn't take 37 years to know you are heading the wrong direction. So I hope, Dr. Magaisa, you understand the ideological bankruptcies among us. We are trying to read too much into a simple equation. 1 plus 1 ought to be 2. 1 plus 0 ought to be 1. Mugabe is 1. You can't add 0 and say the number 1 has become bigger because Mnangagwa is in cabinet. Yeah? I don't think we can take that analysis that would represent a radical shift from what Mugabe's rule currently represents. What does it represent, Mugabe's rule? What does it represent? Tell us. Mugabe says, I've done no wrong. For 37 years, I've been the best president. Look, even now we are going to the Special Congress. I'm 93 years plus, and I'm going there, and I have no opposition. Then you say I'm unpopular. What do you define as popular? If I can get 10 out of 10, I got a distinction. I got 100%. Then you are saying that I have a cunning way. Who have I canned? The sight of Mnangagwa and Moyo fighting. Mugabe doesn't understand what the fight is. He says, please, Dr. Magaisa, bring the fight. What are they fighting for? And again, it's because he's still trying to understand. To figure out. You want this one to be arrested. You want this one to be dead. What I carry a big church.
Yeah.
In the church, in the tent, there are sinners, there are saints, there are pastors, everybody's in a tent. Now you want to remove somebody from the tent because he used money that he was supposed to be Zimdev. What is the problem? He used the money to do this or that. This is not a reason to get rid of it. Give me something concrete. Yeah. Give us proof. But we are falling into not over policy or ideological content. What are we discussing that is policy oriented? In the analysis, there must be some policy angle dimension. Where is that policy dimension? Where is the ideological dimension? There are people who believe that government has a better relationship with land. And therefore, whoever is the president must allocate land, must allocate minerals. Whoever is the president must run the country. And this is the premise of the big man syndrome. What are you saying? That a successor must be a big man. When the constitution itself says the successor need not be a big man. You need a small man to be your servant. But imagine you have a servant who is your big man. Imagine I go home and I find a butler who is wearing a tuxedo. and that is worth more than the lunch.
He's serving you. He comes over your tray.
Then I say, hang on, you can't be my butler, my friend. You can't be my driver and you're wearing a suit. Yeah, a suit, so that is what more expensive than that. It just doesn't work. But over the title of loyal to Mugabe, yes, it's affinity-based politics. If I'm close to you, then I manage you. Yeah, better than the wife. Now there's a dispute. The wife is saying, how can Mnangagwa be more important than my husband? You may have known my husband, but you have sex with him. I mean, why are you going outside your lane? You just keep to your lane. I am the wife, and I got a lot more leverage than you.
I hold the boo.
I hold the boo by the wounds, and I know more about what kind of dreams my husband is. He may not have you. Mugabe has to be one of the lowest points of the long-running succession. But is there a long-running succession battle? If so, what is the address of this long-running? Imagine you've been running for 37 years and you're not tired. What kind of race is that? That's someone's lifetime. Yeah? I mean, you can't say Martin Luther King, he only died at 39, so he's left with 2 years.
Yeah.
And his whole life.
Imagine.
And then somebody says, there's a long running.
Even if those
Going away.
Even the guys who do marathon, bro.
Going to what? The State House.
You can run 200.
These are the learned men of the establishment. Who is learned? Who will be fighting for 37 years? Surely, after 1 year, you know you are going nowhere.
Yeah.
And you just take stock of what?
Yeah.
Of your station. You can't be so naive to assume that so I think we are coming to the end of the site of Mnangagwa, and these are the learned men of the establishment. He's saying that Mnangagwa and Moyo are learned, who should be providing intellectual direction. They are in the bus. That doesn't require intellectual thought. And they are supposed to be intellectualized. Going where, Dr. Magai? Who should be providing
So they are
to the
passengers.
ruling part at a time when the country is in dire straits. Does the country require intellectuals?
So they are passengers in the bus.
No, Jonathan was outside.
Oh,
And he came into the bus.
Again.
He was thrown out of the bus. Then he came back into the bus. And now he's being called an intellectual. I don't know what an intellectual is anymore. At a time when the country is in dire straits, that the country requires intellectuals.
He's an intellectual of going.
Yeah. But the best they can offer is evidence of who between them loves or hates Mugabe. Yes, there is no intellect. What do you do as a president? Imagine I was an intellectual president. Then imagine I go. Have you ever seen someone going to the toilet intellectual? Shit is shit. Whether you're a president, you are not a president. Doesn't require any genius. But they are, after all, ZANU-PF factions. After all, they are. I don't know. And they represent the older, both in age and idea. Where is this faction, Mugabe would ask? The most pressing issue in Zimbabwe is an economy that is comatose. It is comatose because the idea of an economy is wrong. The idea of leadership is wrong. The idea of what it takes to inspire, ignite the human spirit is not there. Let's give analysis that can open the mind and people are inspired to know that, hey, the way we are going, we are all culpable because we are all comatose. Yeah. We can't say if one man is out of state house, then we are all intellectuals. This is this lazy analysis. You will expect the ruling party's emergence Congress to be concerned with this matter that is of interest to the ordinary people. Where are the ordinary people? We need ordinary analysis. We don't need complex analysis. There are no new ideas promised. Give us the ideas. What are the ideas?
That's what we need.
That's what we need. Give us exciting ideas. But there are no exciting ideas apart from the tired analysis that there are factions and that Mnangagwa will mutate into a genius outside the bus. Remove Mugabe. Then all of a sudden, there will be bright lights of the city. There is nothing in the provincial resolution related to the national crisis. There cannot be anything in the resolutions in a bus that you are not in. What are the big ideas? Tell us. The national crisis is beyond ZANU-PF capability. The national crisis has nothing to do with ZANU-PF. It is to do with all of us. We are all in a ditch. When it was Makamba who was arrested for no fault, people thought it was Makamba who had an affair with the first lady, and therefore he deserved it. Then the next one. And now people think what? All the enemies were targeted. The economy is still on its knees. And we don't see that analysis. Never. So what are we talking about? How can we have national crisis that even Dr. Magaisa does not want to talk about? What is wrong with Zimbabwe except us, the talking heads, us, the people who analyze, overanalyze? When there's nothing to overanalyze, Mugabe has said, I've done nothing wrong. Why should I go? And if I go, where do I go? And what happens to my people who love me? And let's answer that question in simplified language so that we don't have this confusion of trying to do guesswork in a complicated Queen's language. Okay, then for Mugabe, the succession drama, you would have expected to be concerned with them, but the matter does not excite them. It does not command their attention. Zimbabwe's salvation lies beyond the ZANU-PF factions and the Special Congress. Where does this Messiah reside? Let's go there.
If there's an address.
If there's an address, but let's say not say beyond. And you made the members of ZANU-PF may have the last laugh. and say you wanted us to go, but the people have retained us. Then what are you going to do? Okay, and the succession drama will continue to provide some entertainment. Who's being entertained? Where is the drama? There is no succession.
There's no such.
37 years has proved that there is no succession.
So
what is the extra 4 years?
What is it extraordinary that has happened in the 38 years?
Yeah, but its outcome will have no impact whatsoever upon the national crisis. Whoever expected people to meet at a congress or conference and the problems will evaporate?
Solved.
I don't know. There are no new ideas promised. There is nothing else. For Mugabe, the timing of the extraordinary congress is a huge gamble. How can it be a huge gamble? This is not a secret vote.
No.
He already knows he's got the 10 provinces. So it's just an affirmation at the Congress. All of a sudden it's a gamble. He could have waited. Waited for what when people are saying they are factions? Let the factions come. We don't see them until after the 2018 election. He says, I'm the candidate. It has been common cause that I will be the standard bearer in the next election. But all of a sudden people have hallucinations, speculation, superstition, going to witch doctors. To talk about what? It's a big gamble because if he makes significant changes to the party leadership, it has the potential to cause deeper divisions within the party. Mugabe says, I got the youth on my side. Well, veterans are like condoms. I can get rid of them.
I can use them.
Which he doesn't need going into an election. But if he plays the safe route, Mugabe does not have the safe route and the big and the risky route. He is just Mugabe. His wife is not about to leave him. So, what else? That Mnangagwa is outside the bus. Then what? The bus will stop. I mean, don't inflate egos. At least temporarily, he rallies the troops for one last shot. This is why I do not think he will make radical changes, but rather after isolating Mnangagwa, he will nonetheless strike a reconciliatory tone, urging unity and togetherness among his troops. It's his Congress and he will not want everyone pulling in the same direction. Meanwhile, the voter registration process is ongoing. That, as has been said before, presents ordinary Zimbabweans with their own opportunity to reach out for the government. But first, ordinary Zimbabweans, young and old, must register in their numbers. So after reading this, why would I vote? Huh? When everything is about Mugabe. Huh? And who loves him? Who doesn't love him? Succession. Where is the succession? Huh? And we are looking for a new address. Who is going to be in that new address? So Antonio Muvunde says, who reshuffle? I don't know what it means.
Laughing.
He's laughing to himself or laughing to all of us. So I think that's... is there another comment that has not been addressed?
Did you read the ones on Mutunga Mawere page?
Or is there something?
Yes.
What are they?
Given Mugabe's age and health, he needs grace more than grace needs him. He will bend his principles to appease grace, notwithstanding what seems to be a discord from the two. There is no succession to talk about. It's either grace or her preferred candidate will take over, or ZANU-PF is headed for a collapse.
Okay.
This is from Tapiwa Nashe Gomo.
Tapiwa Nashe Gomo?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not seeing.
So he's saying great.
Is it on the which one? Tumadi?
No, Mutunga Mawere page.
Oh, okay.
Page. Yeah.
I'm not seeing it.
There are a couple. There are about 3.
Yeah.
And there's another one from Antonio.
Antonio,
I think you read it.
Antonio, I think.
About strategy follows a sequence. Look at Mujuru scenario. They show that in the public, they act indifferent, but in cow formation. Vanosangana Mbere.
Okay, so
you read this.
No,
I think you read another Anton's comment, but not this one.
Not. So, Antonio, what is the essence of what? I mean, the other one, Como, what is the essence of what he's saying?
The essence of Gomo is simply saying it's actually Mugabe who needs grace more than grace needs Mugabe. Was looking at Mugabe's age and the state that he is.
No, because I think maybe Mr. Gomo, the biggest challenge we face is that we don't seem to understand the dynamics of what plays in Mugabe's head. If we were to penetrate Mugabe's head,
we would understand.
Then we would be able to understand what kind of mind this is. And Mugabe's age, he's saying that I'm old, but I am the candidate. And the health is neither here nor there, because he is not going to be persuaded that he is sick. So using the two variables, age and health, does not present an argument that will then persuade somebody who believes he's loved by the people and is indispensable to their future, and that they are under threat without him. And we say grace, he needs grace more than grace needs him. It may be your own perspective, but actually on political issues, Mugabe is the one who is elected. And he doesn't need too many people. He alone got 10 out of 10 votes. Including his wife. He has told his wife to mind her business. And he said, look, you are my wife, I love you, but that's where the story ends. Yeah, but don't try to mess up, try to change the constitution, trying to make me make wrong decisions and create a wrong precedent. You bend his principles to appease grace. He has already said, I will not bend my principles. That's why he's a candidate. If you are going to have a successor who is number 2, 3, 4, that's nature. And when I die, whoever buries me becomes president. I've not made that choice, but I'm not going to be involved. That's what he has said. So his principles, he has already said, we are going to the special Congress. If there's someone who wants to challenge me and wants to be successor, let the people decide. But I don't have a name of grace, name of Murangagwa, Mpoko, whoever, Sekaramai. I don't have their names in my brief. There is a serious discord, because the wife is saying there's nothing wrong in appointing a successor or identifying somebody who will protect your legacy. And people generally are criticizing him for not appointing a successor. They think he's playing a game. And he's saying, no,
I'm not playing a game.
I'm not playing a game. So my wife, don't get involved. Because before I met you, I believed in this. When I married you, you understood what you were marrying into. So why are you appearing to be confused? Don't get involved. There is no succession to talk about. He's saying, I don't choose who my successor is. If the people in my party and the country chose me, I will certainly do what they require me to do. It's either Grace or a preferred candidate will take over, or ZANU PF is headed for a collapse. He doesn't have Grace's name, he has said publicly. So please, Tapua, if you have that thinking, please locate it in the mind of Mugabe, who doesn't contain that thinking. Then Antonio says, strategy follows a sequence. Look at Mujuru scenario. They show that in the public, they act differently, but it cow on formation. Vanosangana kumbe. Zaka Omashua. I don't know what it means there. Strategy. Mugabe is no strategy. All he's saying is, guys, if you want to take me on, please do so in open daylight. I will give you an opportunity to knock me out. And if you don't knock me out, then don't rely on me. So that's what we have. Antonio, and we are where we are. So we got 17 minutes to close the show. So if you have any comment about what we have done to review information that is available, please let us know. And I think we can try to answer the questions if there are any questions at all. But how best can we make the conversation so simple, so straightforward, so stupid, so that anyone can pick it up and say, this is what it is,
Yes.
and then be able to what? To take it from there. So please, if you have a way to think, to reflect, what else do we need to do? And so let's see whether you got any more ideas, any more thinking around this issue. I think we all started with a Mugabe statement. I'm not going to name a successor. Then we read the Daily News article, which seems to be saying that the Congress is about a special Congress is to decide Mugabe's succession. So Mugabe is saying, I'm not going to do something. Then someone is saying, Mugabe is going to do what he says he's not going to do. Is Mugabe a chameleon? Has he shown chameleon tendencies? If so, let's go to the chameleon nature of him and let's expose the chameleon nature of him. But so far, he has said even to his wife, I'm not available to negotiate with. And if you want to negotiate, go to the party and negotiate. Party, don't include me in the negotiation. Stay in your lane. And if you want to be vice president, fine, as long as you don't threaten me. I have no objection, but I'm not going to be engaged in giving you an elevator to go to State House. I never used an elevator, Mugabe says. I am here because I deserve to be here. So this is Mugabe talking. So if we don't hear that, then we are wasting our time. Because Mugabe is not about to abdicate. He's not about to leave office. So if we know that for certain, can't we get a simplified, non-intellectual, pedestrian, a
simplified version.
A version that says what it is.
Yeah, straight.
Yeah. So I don't know, guys, do you have any way of demystifying demystifying this conundrum? Just making it so sexy and so exciting and so interesting. Just that next year I'm going to vote.
Then the complexity of it.
Then just complicate it by too many characters and giving two powers to people who may not have balls, who are politically castrated, and then we give them too much substance.
The people are being named like Hercules.
Yeah? So is there any way, anyone who is watching desperate looking for just a simplified, pedestrian, stupid understanding of where Zimbabwe is and what time it is? Is it the Mugabe time? Is it the people's time? And which people? Is it Mnangagwa's time? And I don't understand. So if there's anyone, we are counting down. And if you have enjoyed the show, please tell us. Because we may be talking to ourselves. When you're silent, that's why Mugabe may be a lonely man. For 37 years, he thinks he's got passengers.
He's good people.
He's got people.
And
yet the people have abandoned him. Some are living in distant shores, demonstrating in New York, demonstrating in London. And he says, I didn't know you left the country. So please, talk to the nation, talk to us, talk to the world. We just there just to moderate. So please, be the voice. Because sometimes we talk to ourselves and we think the universe has been established without knowing that the universe is bigger than our little minds can be. You may also find that Mugabe's universe is so limited, is so infested with all these gossips, all these rumors, to the extent that he no longer knows what is true and what is false. So let's think about this character called Mugabe. Is he human? If so, how do we talk to another human being and tell him what time it is? How do we converse in so uncomplicated way? And so that it becomes obvious that after 37 years of this journey of independence, you actually come to the conclusion that actually Mugabe, every decision he has made is a precedent. That like George Washington, he was just walking, and he's been walking on untrodden ground. Yet we assume that being an intellectual, being a lawyer, gives you a better perspective to have a big story where there's no story. When we just go, it's simple stories of ordinary people expecting government to solve their problems, expecting a wise man in government, then still go for elections. Then after that, transfer their hopelessness from one character to another character. Haven't you learned something for 37 years? If you have learned something, please share your experiences and tell me that President Mugabe knows your experience. And show me how he got into your mind to know what you know, when you are the only one who has experienced what you know. Even what you think you know may not be the universe of what is to be known from the same facts and circumstances. So when you have a glass that is half full, it is also half empty. But you are just describing the same facts. So how best can we make this conversation appealing to you? Interesting. And what do we need to do? So please, we got 9 minutes. Please help us. If you love Zimbabwe and you are quiet, then that's silence of the
Active
mouth.
citizenship
That
is
is
making.
That is. I see we reached about 3,600 people.
Sure.
Yeah. We have viewed this, and all the 360 collapse into no opinion. Then you say you are ready for change. Imagine you are not vigilant and you want change. That is bad change.
Without action is dead.
It's dead.
Yeah.
So I think we have 8 minutes to go. If you are happy with what has been said or discussed or shared, say so. Otherwise you'll be governed by fools and you give them intellectual lenses and you end up the loser. So I think, do we have any takers? No comment. It means 37 years has produced which is what, sophisticated castration. People generally are afraid to say anything. and to talk. But they think that
Maybe it's
they
like,
think they're being followed.
maybe it's like, you know, in church when the ceremony has been preached. Maybe now the people are digesting it.
Okay, yeah, for the last few minutes that have been left, I'm promoting the book When Minds Meet. When Minds Meet, we get to talk about things that are not talked about every day. We get to create a platform where we share what we are thinking about, what the next person is thinking, and how can we build a better community where we have people who are active citizens in wanting to build this community by being participants in that community. So where do we start from? What do we talk about when we're with our friends? So When Minds Meet is a book that is available right now on Amazon and on Facebook. If you go on our Facebook page, you also find it. For more information, get in touch with us there.
Thank you. So we have 6 minutes, and let's see whether there's anyone who is alive. I think there's 5 minutes of what?
Of the call.
Of dead. You can't say death of intellectualism, because I don't think intellectuals would be restrained even to shoot from the dark or shoot from the hip. Imagine in Africa without intellectuals. It would be a better Africa.
It would be better.
It would be problem solving Africa.
Yeah.
Because most of the problems in the world,
It's too philosophical.
no, don't require. No, philosophy is required. You need ideas.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, but most of the problem is around the lack of philosophy.
Yeah.
And so imagine Karl Marx is dead, and he still has influence.
Yeah.
So how can he have influence? Yeah? All he has influence because Karl Marx differentiated himself from others
Yeah, from the rest.
by being able to think and to act.
So Karl Marx was the active citizen.
No, he was a thinker.
He was a great thinker.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
if you have followers after he died,
So he was a philosopher.
he was a man of ideas who was ever ready to think outside the box. Yeah, and introduce new terms that have been repeated for years. Yet he was just a man of flesh.
Yeah, true.
So I think we have 3 minutes, then we are out. Yeah.
Moving by nature.
So I think we have.
People are liking.
Mm,
Yeah. I can see if likes flying there.
yeah. So I think.
We have a response there. I think we have some responses like you mentioned earlier on.
Oh, there's another.
Yeah, I can see likes there.
No, these ones are from.
From
He read them.
Oh, you read them already.
Yeah, we have already covered that.
Okay.
So it's the end of the show.
Let's go to moving by nature.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a two-man band.
Too many bands. We're going to enjoy a song.
band.
On equality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man by nature.
Yes.
Oh man.
A two.
All men by nature are equally free and independent, and have certain inherent rights of which they cannot deprive or diverse their posterity. We equally free and independent, free and independent. All men by nature are equally free and independent, and have certain inherent rights of which they cannot deprive or diverse their posterity. We equally free and independent, free and independent. Imagine being asked to put words to a declaration of independence of men. Where would I start? I will not have a choice but to start with understanding the true design and operation of life. Yes. In it, our land like Jefferson did in 1776, that the equality of man is never a gift, no penalty, no, 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 no. Yes, all men by nature are equally free and independent, and have certain inherent rights of which they cannot deprive or diverse their posterity. We equally free and independent, free and independent. Yeah.
That's great. So on that score, all men by nature are equally free and independent. There is no special person. So goodbye until we meet again.